Hello, hello. I am too excited to be going live for the first time in a very, very long time, but I've got lots to celebrate today. So I'm hoping that you guys will join me. And I've got great news. I got great surprises. I got some freebies coming out. I got all kinds of good stuff going on. So I hope that you'll stick around to get all the messages. Thank you so much, Automatic Paradise. I appreciate that. So for those of you who haven't heard the news, my book, my new book, my only book, probably the only book I'm ever going to write, truth be known, published today. It launched today. It's called Soul Signature Numerology. And I really am so pumped at how well it's been received. By 7:00 this morning, we went #1 bestseller in numerology on Amazon. Can I get a hell yeah? Like, it's just like, I'm so excited about that. It's just unbelievably exciting to me. Anyway, I'm super happy that you jumped on the call. We're going to be talking about a few things in the book. We're going to be reading a few things from the book. I'm going to give a few. Hey, Nadia Healing. Good to see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're going to be going through a few things. We're going to be reading a little bit from the book so you get kind of a feel for it. If you already have it, then ask some questions. I'm happy to answer questions for you if you have any questions related to it. There's Diana. Good to see you, honey. So we've got all kinds of really cool stuff coming up. So I'm going to have to announce this a couple times, I guess. But right now, selfless plug, if you are interested in picking up the book, you can pick it up as an ebook for $1.99. What? Yes, for $1.99 on Amazon. If you check down below, the link down below is there where you can get it for $1.99. I believe that sale is open until noon on Friday morning. Okay, noon Eastern time on Friday morning. Okay, so just be sure to run in there and get that. Now, here's the big news. The big bonus is that if you buy this book, even if it's an ebook or it's a paper book, I don't care. If you buy the book between now and noon on Friday, you're going to get an invitation to a live event that I'm going to be hosting on Zoom on Sunday, November the 30th at noon Eastern time. Okay, so this is going to be a Zoom opportunity. So we might be able to talk to each other. We're going to be able to message each other and such. It's quite a bit different than doing the work here on YouTube. So if you can't make it, that's cool. That's no problem. We're still going to have a recording that'll go out to you. So the way that this works is once you bought your book and you get your book, whether it's an ebook or whether it's a paperback, inside there's going to be a link that you go to that you're going to be able to sign up for a whole bunch of resources that go with the book, right? So it's not just the book. You're going to be getting a whole bunch of templates and cheat sheets and all kinds of really cool stuff. Plus, like I say, only for those who buy between now and Friday at noon Eastern time, you'll get the link to the Zoom room that will let you in to be able to attend the live event. So I hope that you'll consider doing that. Here we are. So Automatic Paradise. I was daydreaming about you writing a book. I had no idea you were about to release one. I wanted you to write one, and I was trying to telepathically inspire you. You and a lot of people. So that's so funny. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's so funny because, one of the things I was thinking about is what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. And of course, why the heck did I want to write a book? Well, I didn't, straight up. This was not my idea of a good time, but nor was going on YouTube like, I don't know, 10 or 11 years ago either, but that turned out to be okay. So why did I write it? Well, ever since I was a kid, a young adult. So I was probably 20 years old when I went for my first psychic reading. And every single psychic has said to me, opening remarks every single time, when are you going to write your book? And I'm like, what book? Like, you tell me what you want me to write about and I'll write the book, right? But nobody can tell me what to write about. So, here I am, 66 years old. And I guess it was last year when I really kind of got the meat and potatoes done of the actual book itself. But I wasn't really crazy about the ending. So and to be perfectly honest, like, it took so much to write it that I was like, it took me 3 years to write it. So I'm like, all right, okay. I'm done. Okay, I'm just so done. I wanted that last chapter to be done, and it was a little flaky. It just wasn't strong enough, and I knew it, so I left it alone. And then I had something. I'm not going to spoil it. I had some things happen in January, whereby I got new inspiration to finish the book, and the reason for the book came to me really, really strong. So that's definitely in there. So that's one of the reasons. And I'm a storyteller, so I thought, well, when I do my readings, I often will share kind of stories about what I've gone through in hopes that it's going to help you. It's certainly not to make it about me, but it's more about, what story have I lived? What trauma have I gone through, or what really good ending did I have, based upon my own personal experiences. So I tend to share a lot. So I really do believe that vulnerability is one of our greatest gifts, and I love it that we can be vulnerable. And it took a fair bit for me to be vulnerable enough to do this, because the first 9 chapters are all personal stories. So let me share with you how it rolls out, because this is really different than any other numerology book you've probably ever read. So we begin with kind of the basics. We talk about, welcome to Soul Signature Numerology. And I should probably cover that too. Why do I call this Soul Signature Numerology? Well, I think you're so much more than just your life path number. When someone says to me, oh, I'm a 5 life path number, my first question is going to be, what kind of a 5? What kind of a 5 are you? Are you a 5 straight up? Are you a 14-5? Are you a 23-5? Are you a 32-5? Like, what kind of 5 are you? So this is what I really want to talk about in this book. So Soul Signature Numerology, I wanted it to be more personalized. I want it to be a deeper dive. When you look at my date of birth and you add the numbers straight across, I come up as number 34. And 3 and 4 equal 7. Okay, so the 3 and the 4, those are sub lessons to the main lesson of the number 7. Okay, but if you add it up a different way, where we break the pieces down independently and then add them together and reduce them, I come up as a 16, 7. So the sub lessons here would be a 1 and a 6. And the big lesson is a 7. So how do I know which one's the right one? Well, you have to really feel your way into it. The first thing you have to do is really understand, what do the numbers from 1 to 9 really mean? That's how we crack the code. So I've discovered that at times I am more engaged with the 3 and the 4 sublessons than I am in the 1 and the 6. Predominantly, I know beyond the shadow of a doubt I'm a 16-7. I get that. You can't take that away from me. But I also understand that the 3 and the 4 also fit into the 7. As does the 1 and the 6, right? Fits into the 7. So I believe that we can be both. And at different times in our lives, there are different numbers that are activated, if you will. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm teaching you in this book through my own personal stories. And I'll give you an example of that here in a second. Through my own personal stories, I talk about how I really killed it. The number 1, for example, how I really, really did well with the number 1. I'll tell a little story about that. And then I'll follow it up with a little story about how, didn't do so well, right? Kind of crashed and burned a little bit. And then we talk about, what did I personally learn from that? And then we follow it up with journal prompts for you to get you to kind of work through it, to say, when did you really rise to the occasion of a number 1? The other thing that we do in the book is we break it down. Just a second. I will find you in here. Each chapter starts out with the definitions of the numbers. Okay, so the first chapter that I'm going to share with you is called Wilted Flowers and Wild Horses. And so we talk about, at the beginning of the book, you see here, at the beginning of the book, you have your definition of the number 1, the positive traits as well as the negative traits. So when I talk about the positive story, the words that are positive about the number 1, I italicize them. So as you're reading it, you start to learn and you start to remember, okay, that's what the positive side of the number 1 is all about. And likewise, when we get into the negative story, or the challenging side, or shadow side, then we start looking at the negative traits, but I italicize them as well. Okay, so let's talk about the first chapter. First, actually, before we even get into that, I want to know where are you guys coming from? Where is everybody? Hey, Ruth, Kenny, good to see you. Natty's going to come right back after meditating. That's cool. Oh, good. Lisa made it too. Awesome. So where are you guys all coming from? Where are you geographically? I'm curious to know. I know where some of you are. But yeah, Diana's out in the valley. She's a valley doll. Where else is everybody? I know Lisa's is in Ontario. Just kind of curious. All right, you guys are shy. Fine, be like that. Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, thank you very much. And I thank you for the reviews on Amazon today, guys. Holy smokes, you guys are too good to me. Holy, so good. Okay, personal story related to the empowered expression of the number 1. Remember, this one is called Wilted Flowers and Wild Horses. So you'll soon find out that this is not like any other numerology book you've ever read before. So we start out by saying, I was born to be an entrepreneur. I had my first business when I was just 6 years old. In my early years, I was raised in Burlington, Ontario, and my best friend's family had a greenhouse where they sold various plants and cut flowers. And I remember spying an enormous compost pile behind their greenhouse. And every few days, Mr. Bet would toss out what appeared to be perfectly good flowers. They were a wee bit wilted and past their prime, but I was a visionary, and even at the age of 6, I saw a way to repurpose them. So I must have been a bit of a plant empath because I hated to see them die without any purpose. When no one was looking, I would drag my vintage wooden wagon to the compost pile and carefully select the best from the discards. And then, with the ambition only a 6-year-old entrepreneur could muster, I proceeded to knock on all the doors in my neighborhood, asking people to buy my dead flowers. I didn't believe my parents knew I was peddling dead flowers because if they had, they likely would have said something. I was pretty independent, and I was very determined to find a way to satisfy my sweet tooth. So my neighbors undoubtedly had mixed reactions to me and my enterprise. Where are her parents, and why is she allowed to go knocking on strangers' doors unsupervised? But would my parents have supervised me and supported my efforts to sell someone else's dead flowers on the doorstep? I don't think so. So on the other hand, many others may have said, that little girl sure is ambitious. Her entrepreneurial spirit will take her far in life, and that it has. My friends often marvel at the number of times I've reinvented myself. I could always see a new way of making a living. Some may be motivated by money, but at 6 years old, the profits from my sales went straight back to Lidl's convenience store, where I satisfied my addiction to Tootsie Rolls, Sweet Tarts, and Cracker Jacks with the prize at the bottom of the box. So that is an example of a personal story related to how I really killed it with the number 1, right? The number 1's about ambition and being determined, right? And maybe a bit of an innovator, right? Being the entrepreneur and so forth. I really nailed that. That was not a problem for me. Now, the challenging side of the story comes in when we talk about the wild horses. We've just talked about wilted flowers. Now we're going to talk about wild horses, the challenging aspects of the number 1. So the challenging aspects of the number 1 showed up just a few years later. In 1968, my 2 brothers and I spent the summer in Jamaica with my grandparents. I was the youngest of 3. My brother Grant was 13, and my oldest brother Ross was 15. I was just 9 years old. Ross and Grant were old enough to go off on their own adventures, but I was left to fend to myself. Given I was pretty independent, that shouldn't have posed any issues. Or did it? I have had a passion for horses for as long as I can remember. My Uncle David had a thoroughbred racehorse farm in the remote hills of Spot Valley, Jamaica. And I loved to go up there and hang out with the grooms. They were so kind. They taught me how to groom the horses and how to make halters out of discarded binder twine. They were endlessly patient, too, while they answered my never-ending stream of questions. They could see my love of horses and did what they could to nurture it. My uncle had a stallion named Samaris, who was the most beautiful horse I had ever seen. I was in awe of his shiny mahogany coat, but I was clearly told to never go near this horse, as he was extremely spirited and very, very dangerous. Well, the glint in his eyes was somewhat between intimidating and inviting. We obviously had something in common because I too was spirited and maybe a little too dangerous given my stubborn nature. But on a really hot Saturday afternoon, I was once again left to entertain myself, as was often the case. I'm guessing my independent nature made everyone think it was okay for me to spend hours alone without supervision. So I did what any horse-obsessed 9-year-old would do, and I went to visit Samaris. I was determined to show them Samaris wasn't dangerous. After all, I had read books about horses, and I knew all about them. I remember swatting the numerous flies off my face as I made my way down to the beaten, dusty path to his stable. And there he was, sequestered by himself because of his badass reputation. He was big. I mean, really big. And I could feel his frustration as he anxiously paced the fence line. His paddock was small, but the view was of lush, green, rolling hills filled with the green grass and freedom that he craved so much. I didn't see a mean horse. I saw a spirited horse who felt trapped and miserable. I stubbornly ignored all of the warnings I was given, and I reached in to make contact with him. I felt his hot, steamy breath on my hand and yet felt no fear. I was proud of myself for courageously reaching out to him. I was so proud of myself, in fact, that I foolishly boasted about my encounter to my grandmother. I stubbornly resisted the warnings. I disrespected my grandmother by boldly going where no kid should have ever gone. My enormous, driven 9-year-old ego told me I could do whatever I wanted without consequences. I took a risk that could have ended very badly. I was immediately labeled the stupid child. In hindsight, I may have been just that. The label of stupid child haunted me for most of that trip. Stupid because I jumped off the boat into a sea of jellyfish when I was told not to. Stupid because I ignored all the warnings about stepping into horse shit full of red ants. Yeah, baby, I remember that like yesterday. That's overrated. Stupid because I bought a hat from a vendor for 6 times more money than what it was actually worth. So my fierce and stubborn independent nature kept getting in trouble. I secretly wore that label for 54 years. When my grandmother called me a stupid child, I chose to allow it to damage my self-esteem in ways too numerous to mention. I secretly struggled in school because I truly believed I was stupid. I was certain I had a learning disability. Later in life, it affected me in both my personal and professional relationships as I suffered with many insecurities. I held myself back. I chose to believe my grandmother was right and that I was indeed a stupid child. The fact is, I chose to believe I was a stupid child. I chose to tell my 9-year-old inner child for 54 years that she was, in fact, stupid. I eventually forgave myself for saying such an awful thing to little Anne, but I was sorry I had agonized for so many years reinforcing this belief. Although it was a terrible thing to call a little child, my overly bold, disrespectful, dangerously determined approach earned me this title. My grandmother's opinion of me was based on me showing her the negative qualities of the one. She chose to respond by labeling me a stupid child, and I chose to believe it. So there's an example of how I didn't embrace the number 1 so well. But then we follow it up with, what did I learn? Okay. And this is not to make it all about me, guys. This is about being able to help you to be able to look at your own stories and identify where you really killed it or you didn't nail it so well. Okay. So we talk about, how did I embrace the positive traits of the number 1? Remember when I was the entrepreneur? I learned very early on that I had an entrepreneurial spirit. I also learned to be independent as I explored my creative potential. I discovered the courage to create opportunities to satisfy my own needs. And I also learned that reinventing myself would serve me well in the future. And it sure has. And then we go on to talk about the negative traits and how it served me. I learned that I have a driven nature that is often influenced by my ego. I learned that I get to choose how I feel about myself, and no one, not even my grandmother, can make me feel anything. I also learned that forgiving myself for choosing to feel stupid was a whole lot easier than struggling to forgive my grandmother. Okay, so the stories then are followed by reflecting on your journey. So there's going to be some prompts there that help you to go through it and to reflect on your own personal journey. And then we have some affirmations for each number. In the center of the book, there's actually a huge chapter on relationship compatibility, right? So if you already know what your life path number is, let's say it's the number 1, there's going to be a whole chapter in there that says, okay, if you're number 1, this is how you're going to get along with another 1. This is the positive side. This is the negative side, right? You get to choose whether you want to put up with that or not, right? So then we go 1 and a 2 life path, 1 and a 3 life path, and so on and so forth. We do that for every life path number, all the way from 1 to 33. Okay, so there's a lot of information here. There's like 300 pages in this book, but it's not a heavy read because I purposely, I took a cue from Hayden Crawford, who wrote a book recently, the Starseed Ascension Guide. And I love the way that he set his book up. And see how the lines and whatnot are spread out a little bit more, and it's just, I don't know, just more easily to read. But of course, that bulks up the book a little bit as well. So, but I don't know about you guys, but with these eyes, I like to have my font a little bit larger. I like to have the spacing a little bit better. So there's all that. So we talk about, why we make painful choices that we make, why we make the choices that we do, why some of us come in as students of the universe and some of us come in as teachers, right? And we'll be talking about the difference between those two. Let me just check in on some of these comments here. Automatic Paradise, you're a 16-7 just like me. You're like, yay, don't we rock? Not every day. But this is a new moon. Isn't that so great? This is a new moon. I had no idea. All I knew is that I was given a 1-week window to be able to launch this book. So I chose the 19th day because it vibrates at a number 3 on a universal level, which is all about communication. I had no idea we'd be in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. But we're coping. And then, of course, now we have the new moon. So it's all good. It's all good. So, I'm glad, Diana. I'm glad that you like the way it's laid out and the way it flows. Yes, we are very intuitive and very intelligent. Paradise. I second that notion. So, anybody have any questions? Any questions about your life path number? Do you want us to look at your soul signature number? By all means, but just pop your date of birth in there, and I would appreciate it if you would write it. Write the month out, like March, MARCH, and then the day, and then the year. That would help me out a lot. But if you want to put some dates of birth in there, I'm happy to play. January 18th, 1976. All right, let me get some paper here. Hey, Bradley. Okay, wait now. Lisa, where'd you go? January 18th, 1976. Okay, so if we take Lisa's date of birth, the Kindred K9 mind and motion, if we take her date of birth and we add it straight across, 9, 10, 17, 23, 24, 10, 20, 27, it comes up as a 33. Okay. Now, if we break it down independently, we're going to bring January down as a 1. The 18th day, 1 plus 8 equals 9. And then 1976, 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 7 is 17, plus 6 is 23, and 2 and 3 equal 5. So when we add those together, it comes to 15, and 1 and 5 equals 6. Okay, so Lisa and I have done a lot of discussion about her life path number because it's quite unusual. There's a significant difference between a 15-6 and a 33-6. At the end of the day, you're still a 6, but how you get there is quite different. Okay, so the 1 and the 5 are some sub-lessons that sometimes are activated within you. The 1 is learning how to be a little bit more independent, learning how to be a little bit more creative, possibly more of a leader, learning how to be independent rather than codependent, learning how to shine, to tap into your intuitive gifts, to tap into your creative potential, to find a way to share that potential with others. That's the 1. And then the 5 is learning how to cope well with change, learning how to be a bit more flexible, adaptable, resilient, learning how to temper your need for your freedom. And sometimes it's got to have it. Just want to do it. Got to have it now. Very spontaneous, very, very kind of knee-jerk reactions to things. So it's learning how to kind of bring that back to be the best 6 you can be. Okay. Or you can be a 33-6. Okay. And this brings in the double 3s. So that's an entirely different soul signature than what 15-6 is. Okay. So the 3s relate to developing confidence in your creative potential and finding ways to share it. But it's also learning how to knock off that inner critic on your shoulder, because the 3s are notorious for not feeling quite good enough. And dare I mention that the 6 already feels like they have a need for perfection, always has a need for perfection, right? So that can be a little bit frustrating. So, but the master energy how we know the difference between whether you're activated in a 15-6 or the 33-6 is how you feel. Most people who have a master number feel the need to do something much bigger than they're currently doing. They never give enough credit to what they've already accomplished. They're always looking for the next thing because they don't feel like they've given enough. So they have this tremendous need to provide something to humanity that's lasting, something that's going to stand the test of time, that will make a difference, will make a contribution. And maybe, when you're done with this world and you leave, you'll leave some kind of a lasting contribution. And the 33-6, of course, is the master teacher. So it's that interest in teaching, and the interest is teaching about unconditional love. So it's not surprising to me that Lisa would be interested in numerology, because the beautiful thing about numerology is it teaches us how to see people differently, see them in a different light. Like when I meet new people, man, it's only a matter of minutes before I know what their date of birth is, because I want to know what I'm dealing with. We're not even talking names on the birth certificate or anything right now. We're just talking dates of birth. So it's wonderful when you can understand where someone's coming from through their soul signature number. You can understand why they irritate you, or you can understand why you just get along really well with them. If these are your children, I really wish I had known numerology when I was raising my kids. My oldest one in particular was really disruptive in class all the time. He was a class clown. He was just like, every report card came home and, Jeffrey was disruptive in class today. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Get something new to tell me. And the fact is his life path number, his soul signature number is a 14-5. The 5 is an experiential learner. The 5 is somebody that wants to be outside doing something, wants to be shown how to do something, wants to experience something, right? The 5s are not the ones that you can tie down to a desk for 8 hours and expect them to just take it all in. It's just not going to happen. They're going to get disruptive because they're very restless by nature, right? And the fact that he was a 14-5, if I'd known that at the time, I would have known that 4 was very significant. It's not only is it a karmic debt, but the 4 says he has to have a plan. He doesn't do well without a plan. So I could have nurtured him a little differently by giving him a plan, maybe, a schedule to do his homework, right? Or his chores around the house, or a plan to earn enough money to buy whatever he was looking for. But the 4 in there says, I need a plan. I need to learn how to plan things and to be a little bit more disciplined so that I can have that 5, which is the freedom that I want, right? So this is where just understanding the numbers individually and how they play out with your kids, with your partners, with your husbands, with your wives, like, wow. I mean, even your coworkers, you're often we spend more time with our coworkers than we do with our own families. It's nice to know who they are. And if you're in an HR position, you can say, well, Mary is never going to get along with Joe because Mary is a 2. She only can cope with one-on-one relationships in the office place. She doesn't do well with chaos and whatnot. Joe is the 5. He's the party guy, right? He wants things going and happening all the time. That'll make her nuts. We cannot put those 2 together if we want things to be successful, right? So simple stuff. Okay, let's see. I hope that helps. Lisa, I know you know that anyways. Thank you for letting me use your date of birth. Brenda Lee. So congratulations, Anne. I'm a life path 11. I've learned the 2 aspect is my weakest fare. April 14th of 1964. Yeah. Well, if you think about it, when you add up 1964 all by itself, it adds up to 20, and 2 plus 0 equals 2, right? So there's another 2 influence as well. And the 2, of course, is learning how to receive. You are in the teaching capacity, so you're always wanting to be of service, always wanting to teach, always wanting to put it out there for all your students and whatnot. And I know that you are somebody who works very hard at collaborations and to create healthy collaborations. So so I'm glad that you see that as your weakest area. The 2 is the weakest area. Because that's exactly what it is. It's being patient and learning how to let things come to you. Your 11 is made up of double 1s, right? So the double 1s, that's that double need to be on top of your game, double need to create, double need to be independent and to be the leader and all that kind of stuff. It's push, push, push. It's a masculine energy. It's a double 1 energy is a masculine energy, which adds up to the 2, which is the feminine energy. So the double 1 say, push it, push it, push it, make it happen. But the 2 energy says, how about we just learn how to sit back and let it come to us, right? Rather than always having to push the wagon up the hill all the time. So Diana is February the 1st of 64. 1964. So here we have another 5. So it's possible that you can be a straight up 5 if we break everything down. So February comes down as a 2. The first day comes down as a 1. 1964. 1 plus 9 is 10. Plus 6 is 16. Plus 4 is 20. And 2 plus 0 equals 2. So you can be a straight up 5, or you can be a 23-5. So the 23-5, the 2 again, and this is something I know that you're not that great at, Diana, because you're the extreme giver. So for you to receive it's difficult for you, right? Because you've always been taught, give more than you take, and that's just who you are, right? So you've got a huge heart, but it's learning how to receive. And I know that you've been put through many situations in your life where you've had to ask for help, and that's difficult for you, but that's part of the lesson curve attached to the number 2, is allowing things to come to you without having to chase them all the time. Diana has a soap business, and she puts everything she has into her soaps. Like, it's ridiculous what she does. Dot's Daughter Soap is what it's called, and you can follow her on Instagram. And the thing with that is that she doesn't do it. I mean, she's a businesswoman, of course, but she's not doing it. Her number one focus is not doing it to make the money. She does it because she knows it's the right thing to do. It's how she can be of service. And she's making a quality product that isn't harmful, right? So she's making a large contribution to humanity in that way. The 3, of course, of the 23-5 is about learning how to express yourself in a creative way. And so this is definitely one of the ways she's doing it. Which comes back to the 5, right? Which we've already talked quite a bit about. The 5 is the experiential learner, gets bored really easily, wants to be going all the time, making things happen, doesn't want to sit behind a desk if they can help it. So that's it. That's who you are. All right, let's take a look. Advises friends, but not much trauma date. So Automatic Paradise says, find 5s good as friends, but too much drama to date. And that only leaves me with the 1. Oh my gosh. So Lisa's saying, it is helpful. I pick up something new every time you explain it. My brain hears a little more clearly. Awesome. Brenda Lee is saying, accurate about me. I practice gentle patience with myself. Good. Receiving has always been a slower, challenging area for me. Well, we're all kind of there, it's all good. But anybody else have a date of birth you want me to look at? Maybe one of your kids, maybe your weird ex-boyfriend or whatever. Is it true that life paths 6s are a match for 16 7s because of the 6 and 16? Oh, no, no, no. Okay, so when we look at 16-7, Automatic Paradise, we have 1-6/7. The biggest of the sub-lessons between the 1 and the 6 is the 6, because the 6 sits closest to that slash. So we feel it the most. It's the closest to us. The 1 is further out, so it's not as big a sub-lesson as the 6 is, okay? So the 6s are always looking for perfection, right? They always raise the bar really, really high. I have some big 6 stories I can tell you. My son just jumped on, so he'll appreciate this story. When I was in my other, I call it my other life, when I was in my marriage to David, I did a lot. I did 2 jobs. I was running 2 jobs, and I was running a business, and I had a lot going on. And so, but my self-esteem was really low. And so I would overcompensate by doing a little bit more than my share, to the point where my partner, my husband, wasn't doing a whole lot. And he became kind of complacent and just kind of allowed me to do it. And my kids would be kind of like, well, you do it. Don't, I'm not going to vacuum my room. You do it better. Or I'm not going to make my bed. You're going to do it better. And I realized about 3 weeks after I left my now ex-husband, God bless him, he's an amazing person. But when I left, I realized that that wasn't his fault, that he wasn't doing much, and it wasn't my kids' fault that they kind of left their rooms like bomb scares, like they were just horrible, right? It wasn't their fault. I taught them that I would do it. I taught them that I would, pick up. That's what's my responsibility, was my drug of choice, right? That's what I reached for. God forbid that you'd stand in the way of me being able to do it, because I wasn't feeling very good about myself. So I have a tendency to kind of over deliver at times. Not always, but quite often I would over deliver and take on more than my share because I needed that. And so when you talk about, are the sixes and the 16/7s compatible? Well, two things enter my mind. One is you're both going to vie for the responsibility piece. Okay. And you're also, you're a 7 and the other person will be a 6. So the 7 is the odd number. We're kind of the head cases, right? Whereas the 6s are the even numbers. Okay. So they're more the creative ones, the nurturers, that sort of thing. So I don't know. I'm not digging it, but I'll tell you what, I'm not going to put all the stock into saying that, you're only compatible if this life path number is this and this life path number is that, and that soul signature is this. And so I don't go there. I really don't. My current partner, my husband, he is polar opposite of me, but we're as good as it gets. Like, we are so good together, but we have very differing numbers. But our heart's desire numbers that come from our birth name, that's compatible. Even though our soul signature numbers are a little sketchy, our heart's desire, what we want out of life, is compatible, right? So you can't throw all the eggs in one basket to determine compatibility. And that's, we talk an awful lot about that in the book. All right. So who else do we have here? August 20th of 1979. Okay. So already when I look at somebody's date of birth, I look at the day they chose to be born on. Okay. So the day you choose to be born on says an awful lot about who you are, what kind of a person you are. The 20th day, 2 + 0 = 2, which brings in sensitivity, brings in the ability to be very good one-on-one with people. They really enjoy that whole one-on-one interaction. But the 0 is something that most numerologists don't even talk about. And the 0 turbocharges the number that sits next to it. Okay. So the 0 brings in the reality that this person who chose to be born on the 20th day also agreed to tap into their intuitive gifts at some point in time in their life. Okay. So let's take a look here. 1 9 is 10, 19, 26. That's 8, 2, and 8, 10. So that's an 18, 9. 1 9 is 10, 19, 26, 28, or a 36, 9. So you can be either way. You can either be a 36, 9 or an 18, 9. Okay. So a 9 is a 9 is a 9. We get that. But how do we go about becoming the best 9 we can be? Remember, 3 and 6 go into 9. 1 and 8 go into 9. So you're going to be acting with the energy of the 3 and the 6 at some times. They'll be activated in your life. And at other times, the 1 and 8 will be more active. What I have found for me is that the 30, in my case, the 34, 7, the 3 and the 4, that was far more prevalent for me early on in my life. And then I kind of morphed and moved into the 16/7 vibration. Sometimes I'll vacillate a little bit between them, but predominantly I'm kind of steady on the 16/7. And maybe that's the same case for you guys too. But in the case of 36/9, the 3, of course, relates to your ability or inability to be the communicator, to feel confident about what you're saying, comfortable with your words. The 3 often has that inner critic that needs to be tamed every now and again. But it's a need to express yourself in a way. In this case, it would be to be of service to others, because the 6 relates to being service of others. The 9 is being the humanitarian. So when I look at 36/9, I see a creative aspect, wanting to do something creatively or in a group dynamic. The 3 represents a group dynamic. The 6 can relate to the home or the family or the work family, or just the need to be of service in a community. This could be somebody who opens up a group home, right? Because the 9 relates to the need for a humanitarian aspect. And when we look at the 18-9, the 1 and the 8, the 1 is about learning to be a bit more independent, come up with some kind of unique idea, reinvent yourself a few times maybe. The 8 relates to you stepping into your power and establishing your own personal self-worth, making sure that you're earning the kind of money that you feel that you deserve. It's about helping others to step into their power. When I look at the 18-9, from the 9 as a humanitarian, both ways, either 36-9 or an 18-9, the 9 relates to that need to be the humanitarian. Well, I said the 36-9 is somebody who might want to create a group home or some sort of a creative aspect, maybe a fundraising kind of a deal. I don't know. Whereas the 18-9 is more about, how do I raise money? How do I uniquely raise money and awareness for this cause? How do I step into my own personal power so that I can help this cause? Okay. So I hope that helps. That was numerologics. Okay, cool. June 28th, 2021. What a blessed day that was. It's my grandson's birthday. Let's see. June 28th of 2021. 2, 4, 5, 7, 15, 21. Or 2 and 2 or 4 and 5 and 7, 1, 6, and 5. Okay, so in this case, our little grandbaby, he's either a 12-3 or he's a 21-3. And this will be really interesting to how this rolls out, because his father is a 5. Okay, now they're both odd numbers, right? So they've got that going for them. But the 12-3, I find that the 12-3 is someone who really struggles with who they are. As they get older, the code is 1, 2/3. The 1 says, do I want to be independent and on my own? The 2 says, do I want to be in a partnership? The 3 says, do I want to be in a social circumstance? So we might call him on a Friday night and say, hey, Fletch, what do you want to do on Friday night? And I don't know. Do I want to be by myself? Do I want to hang out with somebody else? Do I want to do the whole group thing? So they have a hard time making up their minds. But quite often, the child who's a 12-3 or the adult really struggles with self-worth. Really, really struggles with self-worth. So the emphasis here is on the 2, okay? Learning how he fits in with others, learning how to partner up with others, but also be able to hold their own in the group. And I think he does that really well. But he's also got 2 very outward parents, so one's a 5 and one's a 7. So if he's a 21-3, then the more of the emphasis would be on the 1, because that sits closest to the slash. And the 1 is about learning more about being independent rather than codependent, not being quite so clingy, maybe, as they grow up. The 1 is learning how to take chances, to speak their truth, But he's somebody who needs a unique way to express himself. So he's great with the books. He loves to read. That's awesome, right? But as soon as he's able to encourage him to journal, to write stories, to create stories, whatever, is great. Anything you can do to help him to act things out would be really, really great. Allowing him the opportunity to say what he has to say is really important as well. So anyway, that's our baby cakes. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Our birthday is life path for the okay, so on my prayers, our birthday is our life path from our most recent lifetime. Right? I was born on the 31st, so I was a life path 4 right before this lifetime, right? I've never heard that, to be honest. I really can't answer that, automatic paradise, because I honestly have never heard that before. And the truth is, there's no way to prove it. It's the same theory with when I'm dealing with the theories in my book. I can't prove which theory is correct. I can't tell you that adding the numbers straight across is going to give you the right soul signature. I can't tell you that breaking it down independently is going to give you the right soul signature. What I can teach you is what each one of those numbers means so that you can look at it and go, this feels right to me. That's why I wrote the book in the way that I have, so that you can relate better to stories, because there's no dogmatic way to do this. There's no way to prove it. It's like, astrologers believe that our personal year begins on our birthday. Numerologists believe that our personal years begin in January and end December 31st. Well, how do we prove who's right? We don't, right? So once again, when you learn the theories, you have to feel your way into that and go, this feels right for me, right? And if it does, then it's right for you, right? I feel that I'm a 16-7, not a 34-7 right now, but tomorrow maybe I'll be a 34-7, and that's okay. But you got to feel your way into it. Tony, you are, I don't know what that is. Is that July the 6th or is that June the 7th? It makes a difference. If you can just kind of message in there, that would be awesome. Let's see, May 19th, 1967. Nadia, okay. Oh, you're so welcome. Let's see, May 19th, 1967. Okay, so automatically when I look at this date of birth, Nadia, I'm looking at an older soul. How do I know that? Because the number 19 is a karmic debt. And the karmic debt shows us that you've had previous lifetimes, right? So karmic debt, I talk a lot about it in my book. Karmic debt is not punishment, all right? Karmic debt is an opportunity to make amends for bad behavior from a previous lifetime, right? So if you have a karmic debt showing up there, it's simply saying, I know, I get it, I screwed up. I was a bit of a badass in a previous lifetime. I'm going to clean that mess up. Right? That's what I'm going to do. So this 19-1 says that you were a leader in a previous lifetime, but you were somebody who was a bit of a badass leader, right? You were kind of a little difficult and you led with an iron fist kind of thing. So in this lifetime, the 1 and the 9 tells me that you are here to help people to help themselves. Okay. You were here to show people the way rather than jumping in and saving the day and throwing on your cape and your tights, and taking all the credit for saving the situation. It's more about you stepping in and saying, okay, I'm going to help people to help themselves. Right. So that's just that part. So let's take a look. 1 9 is 10, 17, 23, 33, 38, 11. Okay, or 1 9 is 10, 17, 23, 5, 1, and 5. Okay, so you're either a straight up 11. So your sublessons would be the double ones, making up the 2, or you're a 38-11 too. So the difference here is quite significant because the 11 knows that they're here to make a difference. But how do they go about making that difference? Okay, they know on some level that this isn't their planet. These people don't speak my language. I don't know what I'm doing here. I got dropped here by accident. So sometimes we have to dial it down a little bit more. So in this case, in Nadia's case, we've got 38-11 as a possibility. So the 3 again is learning how to express yourself, how to step into your own personal power, learning how to set boundaries, learning how to, maybe it's teaching others how to do the same, to set the boundaries. That's probably more what it is. Before you can be the best 11 you can be. Okay. There's videos on this, by the way, on my YouTube channel on the 38-11 or the straight up 11. All these life path numbers I'm talking about, there's videos for them on there. And of course, all of them are covered extensively in this nice little book. So check that out. Okay. That's excellent. Glad to hear it. Okay. So Tony, you are July 6th of 83, 1983. So automatically I know that you're the nurturer. You're the guy that takes care of everybody. You're somewhat of a perfectionist. You take on responsibility more so than a lot of people do. You're just that guy. Probably very connected to your family. Even if you've got bad blood in your family, you'd probably, regardless of what kind of relationship you have with your mom, you'd probably throw yourself under a bus for your mother. That's typically what the guys do when we've got the 6s here. So let's take a look. 1 9 is 10, 18, 21, 27, 34, 1, 9, 10, 18, 21, 3, 6, and 7, 9, 10. Okay, here's an interesting one. So you're the same as me, Tony. You're either 34-7 or you're 16-7. Okay. So the 34-7 relates to the sublessons of the 3 and the 4. Okay. So the 3 is learning how to speak your truth, learning how to express yourself a little bit more. Learning to lose the inner critic that happens to show up quite often. And then you've got the 4. So the 4 is learning how to be organized, to be disciplined, to dot your I's, cross your T's, to be accountable, to finish what you start, to be the best 7 you can be. The 7, of course, is the analyst, right? We are the spiritual teachers. We're the head cases. We're the ones that think too much, right? When we're done thinking, we're going to think some more. So that's 34-7. The 16-7 has a juicy karmic debt associated with it, which says that in a previous lifetime, we betrayed people. We betrayed our lovers, our spouses. We betrayed all kinds of people, and we caused people not to trust us. So we chose to bring that back into this lifetime and recognize that we made a mess in a previous lifetime. So we're going to clean it up this time around. So the 16-7 says, you're going to run into situations where you will attract people for whatever reason they don't trust you, and you feel this need to make sure that they do. So you'll do whatever you can to make sure that they do. An example would be, I'll be walking in a store and I might have my phone out, I'm talking on my phone or texting or something. And I walk into a store and I want to take my phone and I want to go, hey, y'all, that's my phone. See that? That's my phone, right? This is my purse. Okay. So I'm going to take my phone and I'm now going to put it in my purse, right? Who does that? I do that, right? And I do it because I know that that's resonance from a previous lifetime where I probably was a thief, that people couldn't trust. So that haunts me a little bit now. So you might attract people that don't trust you for whatever reason. You might be the one that doesn't trust them. You might be the one that's going, no, I where were you? Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you text me? So it could be that. So it'll show up in different ways. You might be judged for a crime you never committed. I went through that for about 3 years before I finally realized, well, that's the karmic debt paying itself off, right? So because I wasn't guilty of the crime I was being convicted of. So that's the 16-7. It's an old soul kind of a number, and it is something that I affectionately call it the crash, the burn, and the learn, because we have a tendency to go and we blow our lives up, and we fail to tell anybody that we're even thinking about doing it. It's just, and so that's when people look at us and go, "Wow, I thought I knew you, and now I'm not sure I know you, and if I don't know you, I'm not sure I can trust you." So our job is to make sure that we share what we're thinking so that we don't blindside people, right? I hope you can relate to all that. Stephanie Garcia is in the building. Hey, Steph. Good to see you. Oh, good. I'm glad that's accurate for you. Perfect. So anybody else have any questions or anything before I start to kind of wrap this up a little bit? I want to remind you that the ebook for Soul Signature Numerology, $1.99. Okay. As of Friday afternoon, it'll go back up to $9.99. The paperback's on sale too, but the ebook is only $1.99. Whether you're in Canada, whether you're in the States, doesn't matter. It's $1.99. And it gets you the invitation to my free live stream event. It's going to be on Zoom. It'll be on Sunday, November the 30th at noon Eastern time, where hopefully by then you will have gotten your book. If it's an ebook, you will get it right away. And you'll be able to go in and check out the link that's offered in here, which will take you to a whole bunch of downloadable resources that go with this. This is like a course all in one book. Okay. So I provide a bunch of materials for you. And in there's also a link that will take you to the Zoom event. All right. And it's just exclusive to people who buy between today and noon on Friday, $1.99. It's a 300-page book. Okay. So anyway, I don't have to defend it. You're going to love it. I know you're going to love it. And then you're going to review it on Amazon, right? Because you know what? Today at 7:00 in the morning, my book went #1 bestseller in numerology on Amazon. Let the balloons freaking drop, man. Like, that is just the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me, I swear. So I'm pretty pumped, pretty excited. And I just want to say thank you to all of you. Many of you have spurred me on, encouraged me over the years. Stephanie has nagged me over the years. So God love you. But it's amazing. It feels really, really good. And my goal here, guys, is I just want to get this in the hands of as many people as I possibly can. $1.99, you're going to be able to unlock your soul signature. You're going to be able to share this with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers. This is not, you know what I love about this book? This is not the kind of book that you're going to read it and shelf it. It's not. I'm telling you, you're going to leave this open on your desk because, like I said, in the center, here, let me show you. It breaks it down into this is the life path #1. So 1 plus a 2 life path number. What does that mean? Here's the harmonious side. Here's the challenging side. And here's the wisdom that goes with it. And then we talk about the 1 with a 3 life path number. Oops, over here, and so on and so forth. So this is a resource you're going to want to be able to go to. So you can understand your kids' boyfriends and girlfriends and your crazy neighbors and your crazy in-laws and, all of that. So, thanks, Steph. And Lisa says it's a masterpiece and it has the most absolutely beautiful cover. Like every great bottle of wine, you need a good label. No, that's true. That's absolutely true. And thank you for reminding me that this book was actually, the cover was designed by Louise Rouleau. She is from coloryourlife.ca. And I asked her to do the artwork on the cover because I knew that she would intuit it. Now, your cover won't have this not for resale thing right across it, by the way. That's just because this is my sample copy. But Louise, when she intuited this, just completely boggled my mind because as you look at it, you're going to see more and more. And she created a beautiful set of oracle cards that are all like holograms, right? So when you look at them, you look right deep into them. And some of the stuff, she knew nothing about the fact that I rode a horse that looks identical to that one, identical for 6 years. She was one of my biggest teachers. So that's her there. And she's got the dragonflies all scattered through here. And that's a memorial towards my mom, as is, I'm not going to spoil it, but this eagle has a huge piece of the book that's in there. So she just put that in, you might not have even noticed that, right? So you have to kind of keep looking at it. It draws you in. This owl is an owl that we see in Jamaica all the time. This big, huge white owl. I've never seen an owl in Jamaica until now. So anyway, credit to her. And Amy Molavsky was my editor. She whipped me into shape really quick. And then we had the publishingpad.com. Oh my goodness, Chisholm, if you're on the call, there is not a chance I could have ever accomplished this without you. She just has done so much for me in such a short period of time. She knows her stuff. If you guys are even thinking about publishing a book, look no further, man. She is so accountable, so hands-on. Like she can answer any question. So I'm grateful for her. I'm still shocked that you have a book. You're an icon in the numerology world. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Oh, speaking of which, several years ago when I got into this crazy business, and I went on YouTube, I was terrified. I really was terrified. I didn't think I was good enough or smart enough or whatever. And you know what? I looked up to all of these amazing numerologists. It's just amazing people. And I had the opportunity recently with Hayden Crawford from Dreamtime Academy to be on his panel of, I think it was 6 of us, 6 numerologists from all around the world, some from Australia and some from the UK and myself from Eastern Canada. We all got together to talk about what's happening in 2026. And each one of us had an entirely different spin on it, but it was really, really interesting. And you can find a link to that on my YouTube channel under collaborations. So you might want to check that out because it was really, really interesting. We also did a talk recently with what this whole book is about and what Soul Signature Numerology is all about with Laura Warren, psychic medium Laura Warren. I'm sure many of you know her, and her wife, Kimberly Arsenault, the sacred Flame. Oh my God, I always mess that up. Please look up Laura Warren, medium. You'll get that. You'll get the name right. I always mess it up. But anyway, it's an excellent podcast. You should really consider following it. Yeah. So anybody else got anything they want to share? Circle of the Sacred Flame. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. That's amazing. I don't know why I struggle with that every time. It is an amazing podcast. It really is. It's so much fun. It's really light. You'll laugh and you learn and you laugh, right? The whole way through. They're super vulnerable and a whole lot of fun to spend time with. So check out our newest episode there. Yeah. Anybody got anything else they want to ask or check out? What's your next job? What do you have to do now? If you haven't done it already, what's your job? Come on. I know you can tell me. You can skip on over to, will there be an audiobook? I don't know. Like, it's enough that I got this out, okay? But will there be an audio? Probably. You know what? I don't know. I have to look at a few other audiobooks that are of this nature. And I say that because there's a lot of charts and stuff in here that I wouldn't be able to convey that through Audible, but I think there's some Audible books that you can get handouts and stuff with. So I'll definitely look into it. Anyway, yeah, thanks for the nudge. It might take, 3 years for me to do it, but I'll get on it. So anyway, well, it's been a big day, guys. It has been such a big day. I am so incredibly grateful for the following new beginnings in 2026. Yeah. We're all looking forward to 2026, I think. 2025 started out really rough. And then my country of Jamaica got annihilated and flattened. So it's been a challenging year for sure. But in the midst of all the rubble, I was able to get this done. And I could not have done it had it not been for the support of all of you guys, watching me on YouTube and liking my stuff and sharing the stuff and whatnot. I just can't even say enough. You just really, really helped to make my dream come true. So if you feel inspired to pick up the book for $2, go for it. It'll be there for a little bit. But I think you might really enjoy it. And yeah, if you have any questions, you know where I am. Automatic Paradise as a life path with 7 in a 7-year. I'm ready to get my energy back next year. Oh my God, girlfriend. Yes. 7 and a 7. Oh, that's all I can say to that. Right. So if there was one personal year I wouldn't like to go through, it would be a 7. I'd go right from 6 to 8 if I could avoid the 7. But that's just because I am a 7. So they all have their virtues, right? So anyway. Well, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you being here. I really do. I may do another couple of days. I hope you enjoyed hearing the chapter, give you kind of an idea as to what it's all about. This is my life's work, and any dirt you want to know on Ann Perry, it's right here. it's anything you were afraid to ask, it's in here. So hoping all's doing well. And for those of you who are soon to celebrate Thanksgiving in the United States, happy Thanksgiving. I'm grateful for all of you. Take care, guys. Love you tons. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. And now I got to figure out how to shut this down. I'll see you soon. Bye.